And it's also a big week for housing data. The National Association of Home Builders Housing Market Index is out at 10 a.m. this morning. Also this week, we get housing starts, building permits, mortgage applications, and existing home sales. In the meantime, the National Association of Realtors Housing Affordability Index reveals that June was the most expensive month to buy a house in more than 3 decades. Joining me now, DeBianchi Real Estate, Sam DeBianchi. Sam, is that pricing a lot of people out of the housing market where you are? You're in Florida, right?
I'm in South Florida, and yes, it definitely is getting hot here. It's just not the weather. The typical mortgage has gone up by about $500 a month since January. And it's interesting because, believe it or not, the market is slowly cooling, and we're feeling it here. We're feeling it across the country. I'm talking to a lot of different realtors. And although those stats are coming out, it's a different market. The places where you saw the biggest price gains, you're also seeing some of the largest price cuts. So Boise, Idaho, Denver, Salt Lake City, Tampa, all price cuts of over 40%. But that does not mean that sellers are not making money. That just means that they can't be as greedy. So I used to sell, price a property at a certain number and potentially get hundreds of thousands of dollars more. And now buyers are in a different position where they don't even necessarily need to pay list price. But again, because we saw these double-digit price increases year after year, sellers, as long as they bought at the right time, are still making a substantial amount of money. But buyers can now go in feeling a little more confident, being able to keep their financing contingency, keeping their appraisal contingency, and hopefully shopping out mortgage rates, which is something I always recommend. Don't just look at a 30-year fixed.
Well, explain that. Keep talking about that, about a 30-year fix isn't the end-all, be-all for every buyer.
Sure. So the best example is myself. Right when the 30-year fixed hit over 5%, I shopped around, I investigated, I did my due diligence, and I was able to lock in about 5 months ago a 3.375 for a 10-year ARM. So a 10-year ARM, adjustable rate mortgages aren't for everyone, but if you feel that you're going to, be able to have the financial ability to pay it back after 10 years, or if you see yourself living there 10 years, or keep in mind, within those 10 years, you could also refinance. You could potentially get something even less as far as a mortgage rate. So I really suggest that people don't just look at 30-year fixed. There's a 15-year mortgage right now that's less than the 30-year fixed as far as being right under 5%. So it's so important not just to keep going to that number, shop around, look at different lenders, go to your bank, and find the best price and scenario that's for you. But again, you should only buy if you can. That means you have money in the bank and job security.
And I want to talk about affordability because I know down in South Florida in particular that older people who move down there are that kind of one of the kind of traditional bases of apartment owners, condo owners in that part of the state. In particular, in the Miami area, after that building collapse, there's been a lot of assessments on condo owners for the kind of structural integrity surveys that need to be done and the repairs that need to be done, and coupled with, say, rising prices, a lot of older people can't afford to live there. And it's really, it's kind of sad to watch.
Sure. I mean, I live in a condo building and they're doing the correct due diligence to make sure everything is structurally sound. They're doing more inspections. Obviously, condo boards are also going to have that much more insurance in place. So we haven't gotten an assessment yet. Hopefully, we will not anytime soon. But again, when you have that monthly condo fee or quarterly condo fee, you do expect those increases annually, a certain percentage, whether it's 2 or 3%. But at least it's going towards the right places and towards the right things.
Where do you see in terms of prices going in the coming year? The Federal Reserve's on a path to continue to raise short-term interest rates. The longer-term interest rates are lower than they were. I think the nationwide high on the Freddie Mac mortgage survey, it was like 5.81%. So rates have come down. There's still buying activity, but rates are moving up. How do you see it playing out in the next year, Sam, before we go?
Sure. I think prices, again, they're definitely cooling, but I think it all depends on location. And that's why I know that's so cliche for a realtor to say location, location, location. But as long as you understand, yes, this is still a high time to buy. But I think long term, as long as you keep your property for 10 years and you buy in the right location, like, for example, I did my due diligence. I did my research. I saw everything else that's being built around me. And I said, I know that I have a safe, sound bet buying in Fort Lauderdale, in South Florida, because I know everything that's coming here. Elon Musk is building a tunnel to the beach. So many awesome things like that. Money is pouring in here. So, of course, yeah, maybe right now I can't buy and flip my place because I paid full price. But I know that 10-year plan, I feel sound, I feel secure, and I know I will make that money in the long run.
Sam, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here and for some sound advice.
Thanks for having me.
Sam DeBianchi.